What's going on today, guys? I almost hesitate to make this video, but those of you who have been around a while know that I used to customize a lot of knives, and I don't do that anymore. It's a time constraint. I still have all of my stuff set up. My blasting cabinets are still set up. I still have my air compressor and still have everything that's needed to do it, and it's all set up just like the studio is to turn the lights on and come out. Just like my streaming setup is just push the button, 2 buttons, and I'm streaming. It's the same way for customizing these knives. I just don't have time, and I don't want the second business going. But every now and then, a cool project idea will kind of cross my path, and I just can't deny it. And that's the case here for my buddy Tactical Joe. I'll put his Instagram link below. He's got a real cool Instagram page, and he'd wanted to know if I could do the after hours jack for him, and absolutely. I've just personally been wanting to see one done all the way, like acid wash blade and everything. And then I went ahead, while I was doing his, I ran mine. I kept the hand rub blade here, you know, factory blade, factory hardware, and did a blue nuke, kind of keep it clean and like blue jeans worn in. I think it's a cool contrast, like Beauty and the Beast all in one knife. And then his is just totally nuked out. And the history of the finish, I invented this finish. I called it the nuke. And what it is, it's a total distressed look on the knife. So I sandblast the titanium. I sandblast the hardware. I mask off everything like threads in the screws. Those don't need to be getting sandblasted. I mask off the blade before it gets acid washed, so all of your action still stays factory fresh. That detent is riding on the factory finish. It's only the exposed looks that matter. The interface for the lock bar, if you can see it there, is all factory. Everything else, acid washed, right? But the stuff that matters is masked off. So the knife is still essentially just a factory knife with the external looks of it being 300 years old. I take great care in color matching all these titanium pieces, which is why I do a fresh blast on everything. If this was blasted at a different time than this was blasted at the factory, or had a different media, or came from different blasting cabinets, you can sometimes get a variance in color. That's why I just reblast everything. It's a lot of extra work, but I've got the cabinet, and that's just, I take great pride in anything that I produce. This is not really for money for me. The payment that I receive on this knife, while it's not a cheap service, I probably have 7 hours, maybe 8 hours into this knife. By the time from start to finish, by the time you mask everything, blast everything, stonewash everything, electroanodize, and put it back together, and then pull it back apart because I stonewash everything together. That's why you can see these scratches on the back. Let's just show you one. Okay, you can see this one right here. Comes through the back spacer there. And there's got to be a few others if you look. This one right here, all the way across. This one, cross and up. So even under the microscope, these things just look like they're 100 years old. I take great care. It's not easy. You got to put the whole knife together, and you don't just put the blade in there and stonewash it, because then you're going to have an uneven stonewash blade. So it's just a lot of taking apart, putting back together, cleaning up, stonewashing, putting back together, making sure everything's good and fits right, and doing each individual part down to the screw for the holder for the lock bar insert. That screw head has been stonewashed. The inside insert has not been touched. It's factory fresh. So it's a lot of work. It's not for the money. While the service is not cheap, it's a labor of love, is what I'm going to say. I treat these like an art piece. Each one has its own characteristics, and I think it shows in the end results. There's a lot of people who imitate my nuked finish, but I think the difference is in the details. I even did, I actually have it right here. His filler tab, because I'm absolutely over the top and extra. His filler tab, if you take this clip off and screw this on there, is factory matched. The inside screw has also been blasted and tumbled. And the tumbling on this filler tab matches the tumbling on the blade exactly, meaning that I put the filler tab on the handle before I tumbled the handle. So if you've seen some scratches on the top portion, it would match up here. This filler tab disappears on this knife. It doesn't even look like it's there because I just take so much attention to detail and just am absolutely hysterical about everything. So there it is. I'm not trying to stack my workload up. In fact, I don't want to modify many knives a year by design. I don't have a desire to have that as a second business anymore. I value my free time, but I still love it. So for the art form, don't be surprised if you guys see a few pieces here and there from me, just because it was so much fun getting back in the shop. I always have my email below if you have a project or something, you know, and I almost hesitate to say it. It's JohnsonKnives@gmail.com. Don't be surprised if I just have to pass on it. You know, I don't have a list or anything. I tried that. I just can't keep it up. And then to get in contact with people, and then they take 2 or 3 days back to get back with you, and then you've already taken on another job. So now you've got 5 knives instead of the 2 that you originally thought because you contacted a few people. And then you wait, and it feels like I'm, you know, holding you to spending some money with me or entrusting me with your, usually they're $300 knives and up, you know, to beat the crap out of them. This is a service that can't really be undone. You can reblast the titanium and get like a smooth, even blast. But once your blade's acid washed, for the most part, it's pretty much acid washed forever. Trade it, sell it, and buy another one because this one's kind of been changed forever, you know. In my opinion, in a good way. I look at both of these, I'm like, man, I probably should have just did my blade in hardware, but I do love the dichotomy here of the hand-rubbed blade and the factory hardware with the beat-up blue nuke. What do you guys think? Some people might say I ruined them. But yeah, it's fun. Really like this finish. The history of the blue, well, not the blue nuke, the nuke finish in general, is it was like half my idea and it was half this crazy buddy I had. I hope he's still watching my videos. Trader Joe's. And my thumb's crazy from, I've just been flipping these knives for the past few days, working on them. But he sent me a Sabenza one time and said, brother, do what you want with this, but I really love that old school, like relic, like it's been patina, tossed underneath a workbench and left for 100-year look, like a shipwrecked look. And this was before it was popular. This was like 15 years ago. So I was like, huh. We was already doing some acid wash when we were doing the mods, you know, 10, 15 years ago. And nobody had done over a fresh blast with electroanodizing in the stonewashed look. And then not only did I have to do that, I had to do all the hardware to match. So that paired up with the acid wash blade into the handle really sold this, like, and then I called it the nuke because it looked like it withstood a nuclear bomb or something and had been forgotten for a few hundred years and then picked up underneath the workbench. It just had that look. So there's a couple people who do it now, but I was the first to do it. I don't mean to sound like a butthole or anything, but I don't want people thinking that I've jumped on some sort of train and copied somebody else. It's, you know, I was the first one to do it that I know of. If anybody knows any different, but I don't think so. We were, it was Tough Thumbs and I were like acid washing blades on YouTube and just customizing knives and modding them. And we were doing this acid wash finish before like Kershaw did their black wash finish. You know, some of the factory guys got their ideas off of the customizing guys, I'll tell you that. And some of the custom knife makers were copying our finishes as well, which is fine. We copied their finish too. You know, I'm sure maybe they did the acid wash first. There's a really cool look now too where people will acid wash blades, and I didn't see it before I seen, I believe his name is Matt Christensen, would do this acid wash blade, and then he would take like Scotch-Brite and put these vertical hand rubbed lines, hand rubbed over the acid wash, which is a really cool look. You know, so there's no harm, no foul or anything. I don't care if people do it. I would care if they called it the nuked finish, you know, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Just don't think I copied them. Every now and then I'll do a project. It's fun. I still have everything set up. It's not that hard to do. It's the time commitment. These after hours are such cool knives. So again, not looking to take on work, but if you do have a unique project in mind, it's possible if you email me at JohnsonKnives that we can do something. But it's not cheap. I really should be charging more, but I feel like I just shouldn't, because, you know, I'm not in it to make money. But either way, I appreciate you guys hanging out. See you on the next one.